Batman is usually always the sharpest person in the room, as we are all aware. However, did you know that Batman once got into a fight in the comics where Flash had to remind him that he was just a man in a suit? You see, because Batman and the other members of the Justice League established Sanctuary, a covert rehabilitation facility for traumatized heroes. There is currently a great deal of friction between Batman and the Flash. However, since Wally West, Barry Allen's sidekick and eventual heir, has vanished, something has gone terribly wrong there, and is thought to be deceased. Barry is devastated and holds Batman partially responsible for the secrecy surrounding Sanctuary and the absence of protections, and now they have yet another issue, as if that weren't enough. A former Gotham crime fighter named Claire Clover, popularly known as Gotham Girl, recently assaulted and demolished the Flash Museum. Batman and Flash now work together to investigate and try to figure out what's happening. The evidence that Gotham Girl left behind will speak for her, even though the witnesses at the Flash Museum were not able to hear or see why she attacked. While discreetly considering one another, Flash and Batman start gathering evidence. Batman acknowledges that while everyone quarrels over who is faster, Flash or Superman, he is constantly debating whether Flash is the superior detective. Flash considers how impressed he is with Batman's intellect while gathering the evidence, referring to him as the best investigator he has ever encountered. She was eventually located by Flash and Bruce, who then hurried to the scene. However, they both consider the past as they go. It's difficult to be near Batman, so realizing this partnership could be. Our staff was severely strained by the deaths at Sanctuary. Barry always makes me think of Wall-E. However, we must look into her together if we wish to locate Gotham Girl. We're making every effort. We're figuring things out. When they get there, they start looking around again and see a huge castle. However, Iris, Barry Allen's lover, telephones him at that moment. She shares Barry's grief over Wall-E's abduction and assumed death. She instructs Barry to deliver a message for me after learning that he is with Batman. Let him go and say, "Oh, all right, yes, that's what I'll do." As Flash and Batman get closer, they see a light coming from inside the castle. Upon entering, they discover posters of themselves and other superheroes adorning the walls. Batman reveals that when Gotham Girl was a young girl, he once saved her parents. Even though she wasn't there, this incident had a profound impact on her, motivating her and her brother to use any measures required to save lives. Additionally, he informs their superpowers. Batman advised her to cease using them and let others handle the crime fighting. However, he acknowledges that he only took that action to spare her from leading the same cruel life as him. Flash discovers a sketch of a child wearing a superhero suit, and he begins to recall Wall-E and the moment he gained his abilities. It's increasing in size. And Flash becomes even upset and brings up the Sanctuary and Wall-E's alleged passing to Batman once more. But they hear a buzzing sound as Batman tries to soothe Flash. When they get there, they uncover a peculiar material in addition to several bodies preserved in unusually good shape. And Flash discovers its venom, Bane's extremely addictive super steroid. Flash is alerted by Batman that this location is probably a trap. At that point, Gotham Girl appears. Batman assures her that he can assist her in any situation. However, she then turns to face a gadget. Flash tries to stop her right away. "Sorry, Flash, but that was too slow." She then inserts the vial into the machine, causing the toxins to spill into the tubes. She tells Batman that it's time for someone to show him the cost of being a superhero. A horde of zombie-like creatures starts to emerge as she hovers in midair. She urges them to act, inspire, and be more while preaching to them about heroism. She also makes fun of Flash for having a museum, acknowledging that she demolished it after someone promised her the funds to build her own group of collaborators. "Claire, your brother would not have approved of this," because she looked up to Batman as a mentor. Claire becomes enraged and accuses him of leaving her and her heroic fantasies. Then she takes off, promising to be a role model for the kind of hero the world needs. She discusses how Batman saved her family and her brother while she soars through the air. She tells herself that this provided her brother a cool origin story, and that she needs a better one since she wasn't there. And she imagines herself fending off the criminals. With a smile on her face, she acknowledges that being a good hero is more important to her than the side effects of the serum or the breakdown of her body when she utilizes her talents. Now, the Flash is involved. This is the act of heroism. I am aware of that. No one will prevent me from being a hero, not even Batman or the Flash, particularly if it saves you, my brother. Flash and Batman keep battling the serum-induced zombies, understanding that they can only defeat them by making them use their abilities if the serum is the same one that Gotham Girl and her brother used. Batman then leaps onto Flash's back, warns him that he will use himself as bait, and tells him to keep running. As a result, they never stop sprinting until the superhero zombies start to perish. As he surveys the corpses, Flash informs Batman that the triumph is meaningless because these creatures were only regular people who aspired to be superheroes. Batman, however, replies icily, "They might have reconsidered if they had known how much it would have cost to wear these clothes. You are at fault for this. You've created yet another enigma that hurts the rest of us." After giving him a quick glance, Flash declares that he will pursue Gotham Girl, and he just abandons him in the dust as Batman tries to stop him. Before Gotham Girl appears, we see Iris gazing at a photo of Wally and lamenting his apparent passing. Claire chuckles as Flash shows up as well, believing that Flash abandoned Batman to deal with the monsters on his own. Flash starts saving lives and assures her that he knows how she feels about losing her brother, because he has also lost someone. He acknowledges that initially he held Batman responsible for Walalai's passing, but ultimately he came to the conclusion that he is primarily to blame. She simply laughs and responds, "What are you talking about?" when he begs her to stop, stating that her brother won't return because of this destruction. My brother has returned. Flash is attacked by her brother Hank, also referred to as Gotham, as Batman attempts to contact him. Flash continues to sidestep Hank's blows until he spots Iris within the structure. Hank then comes up to Flash as he is on the ground and catches him by the throat. He explains to Flash how his positivity has motivated him since he was a young boy. But at that point, Hank's body starts to fail, and he admits to being afraid and asks his sister for assistance. Claire sobs, crying and embracing his dying corpse. Claire wakes up and tries to assault Flash after he gets up and apologizes for her loss and asks who told her to attack the Flash Museum. Batman then lands close by and apologizes for all he did wrong, dropping 2 bombs on her head. She breaks down in tears and tells him that this is her narrative and not about him. She takes out a syringe of serum and gives herself an injection while they are conversing. Batman yells at her, telling her that her sibling was just killed by the serum. However, she claims that since being a hero requires sacrifice and suffering, she doesn't care. However, wouldn't the cost be justified? Claire makes an attempt to assault them. But despite Batman's insistence that he doesn't wish to harm anyone, Flash keeps saving bystanders. She is urged to cease. The first step to being a hero, Gotham Girl, is to avoid killing Batman. They keep discussing her brother and heroes until Batman realizes that she is dying too soon from her powers and tells her that she will perish if she doesn't stop right away. She doesn't listen, though. Lastly, the serum has an adverse effect on her body. As Iris looks on, Flash and Batman rush to her aid and continue to attempt to revive her. Flash encourages her to battle while keeping Wally in mind by using his speed to gain momentum, and they are able to bring her back to life as the strain increases. She can't recall anything that happened when she wakes up. In order to assist her, Batman gives Alfred instructions to prepare the Batcave. Iris, however, confronts them and claims that they have once again drawn another defenseless life into their heroic universe when he says, "Like you helped Wally, She requests that they refrain from approaching her, cease hurting her, and keep her safe.